back to Empower Yourself. Today we will talk about APQR, that is Annual Product Quality Review. In general, it is called as Annual Product Quality Review. As per US guidelines, it is called as APR, which is Annual Product Quality, and as per EU, it is called as Product Quality Review, that is PQR. Let us see why APQR has to be done and why it is needed. Annual Product Quality Review is a regulatory requirement for pharma companies. APQR is prepared in pharmaceuticals to review the consistency of the product. It is used as an effective product quality improvement tool. So here we see that it is the regulatory requirement, and APQR shows the consistency of the product that we are manufacturing, as well as it helps as a quality improvement tool. So to meet all these things, we have to compile the APQR and we have to do it. So here are some of the points that we can go through. So to verify the consistency of the existing manufacturing product, to determine the quality and process defects of a product, it helps for possible improvements to the methods and process. It also helps to determine the need for revalidation. So in all these cases, to maintain the consistency, to identify any defects or for improvements or for revalidation, this APQR will be helpful. So let us see the timelines for the preparations of the APQR based on different types of guidelines. So as per 21 CFR 211-180, it has to be done at least annually. As per PICS, it has to be done annually. As per ICH, it has to be done annually. As per WHO GMP, actually it is not mandatory. So these are the timelines that we need to follow to prepare our APQRs or PQR or APR. So what are the contents that we need to come across or that we need to compile during the preparation of APQR? As per ICH guideline, the below following things have to be covered. In the ICH Q7 guideline, in Part 2 Quality Guidelines, in the Section E, Product Quality Review 2.5. So let us see the contents that we need to cover in the APQR that we are doing. So a review of critical in-process controls and critical API test results. So critical in-process controls as well as critical test API test results should be included in the APQR. A review of all batches that fail to meet established specification. So the batches that have failed to meet the specification, for example OS batches or any deviated batches, all those things have to be covered in the APQR. A review of all critical deviations or non-conformances and related investigations. So any deviations that have occurred during the manufacture of the product or any non-conformances, non-compliance or CAPAs, any type of investigations that we have done for a particular product have to be covered in the particular APQR. A review of any changes carried out to the process or analytical method. So any changes, either it could be the change in the scale up or scale down process or analytical methods or development in the methods or introduction of a new process or a new method. Either any change that has happened to the process or analytical method has to be included. A review of results of the stability monitoring program. So every stability monitoring program has to be recorded. Either it could be the add-on batch or a particular station that has been analyzed during the review period of the APQR, or any newly introduced stability programs have to be mentioned, and those data has to be given. A review of all quality related returns, complaints, recalls. So any complaints, any returns that have been come from the customers, as well as the recalls related to the product, have to be included in the APQR. A review of adequacy of corrective actions. So for all those batches that are fail to meet the specifications, either as well as returns, recalls, complaints, or any other, whatever the corrective actions or the preventive actions that we have taken, all those have to be included as a part of the APQR. So let us see the other guidelines too. In 21 CFR Part 211.180, are the some of the points that have been given. So let us see them. A review of a representative number of the batches, whether approved or rejected, and where applicable, records associated with the batch. So total number of the batches that have been manufactured, how many batches have been approved, and how many batches have been rejected, and all the details have to be recorded, and all the records associated with the batch. All the records means either it could be the deviations or any kind of QMS related things have to be included in the APQR. And a review of complaints, recalls, returned or salvaged drug products, and investigations conducted for each drug product. So all the complaints of the product, all the recalls, returns, either disposition of the drug product, or the investigations whichever that have been conducted for the product. So all those details have to be the part of the APQR as per 21 CFR Part 211.180. So as per EU GMP, here are the points that have to be covered. So export only products. So what products have been exported? And starting material, packing material details, MA variations. This is the marketing authorization variations. That means if the license have been given or not, or there any variations in the marketing authorization, all those details have to be included. Post marketing commitments. So after the marketing, what are the commitments that we have made and what are the things that we have done? All those have to be recorded. Equipment qualification status, technical agreements, effectiveness of preventive actions to significant non-conformities, adequacy of previous product process or equipment's corrective actions. So all this have to be included. In the previous slides, we have seen that ICH and 21 CFR, there are some points that are relatable, but in EU GMP, there are so many other points that have to be included. So these are the other points that we have to combine or we have to cover if we are following the EU GMP guideline. So all the technical agreements, even the equipment qualification stated that has been done during the review period. So if there are any previous products process, for example, if there are some product things which are open during the review period of the previous year, those things also have to be covered in the current year and in the current year preparation of the APQR. So let us see in typical APQR what are the contents that we have to consider by seeing all these guidelines, and what are the things that we need to include during the preparation of the APQR. So firstly, we have to go with the introduction of the product and the type of the category of the product, all the therapeutic uses or whatever the details, basic details of a particular product has to be given in the introduction. Coming to the scope, it has to discuss about the year or the review period or the period that we are going to talk about. So the product details, the number of the stages, or anything that related to the product. Quality details of the key starting materials, critical materials, packing materials. So the quality details of all this have to be included as a part of the APQR. So total number of the batches of each stage of the product, including in-process quality, yield data, those all have to be covered. So number of the batches manufactured for each stage. For example, if there are 5 stages, so each stage, for first stage how many batches, second how many, third how many, and the fourth how many, and fifth. So for each and every stage all the details have to be included, including the in-process quality and yield data has to be covered in this case. Coming to the changes, so all the changes related to all the stages related to the product. Deviations, so any discrepancies or the deviations that have occurred during the period of the preparation of this APK. So if we are preparing for annually, so all the annual detail has to be covered in the APQR. Next, coming to recalls. So recalls, whatever the recalls related to the product, returns, any returns or the complaints, even the suspension or addition of the vendors. So for the key starting material, critical packing materials, or any other vendors that we have already been approved. So are there any alternative vendors which are being added to the approved vendor list, or are there any one who have been deleted or suspended during the period of the preparation of the APK? So all those details have to be included. Even the agreements with the customers to be included. Audits related to customer, internal or regulatory agencies, all those details have to be covered. Next is stability monitoring. So as we have seen previously, that we have to include the stability monitoring programs too. So either add-on batch or the stability that have been monitored during the period of the preparation of this APQR. So quality of the reserve sample. So whatever the reserve sample that have been verified during the period have to be included. Equipment qualification status, validations. So whatever the validations that have been conducted, either it could be process, cleaning, or revalidations, or any kind of things that have been initiated. Those could be any kind of validation, it could be. So CAPAs, OS OOTs, impact assessments of OOT batches, dispatch details, reprocessing batches, rework batches. So all these details have to be included. And previous year issues, if there are any issues related to the previous year which have been opened during that period and that have been completed, or those are still open during the particular review period, so all those details have to be included. So in the next conclusion, in the conclusion we have to cover all the details, like it is like a summarization of all the APQR in a simplest form, in a brief form. So all the details have to be provided. And lastly, so based upon all the things that we have covered, so are there any recommendations that we need to improvise it, or are the things that are being covered are in a consistency way? So all those details have to be given in these recommendations. If there are any recommendations that we need to change, or we need to validate, or we need to improvise our product or the system that we are using. So all these have to be given in this recommendation. So based upon those recommendations, we can move further and do any improvements to the product, and that will be helpful for the improvisation of the product, and that we may get the better quality and yield. So all these are the things that we need to cover in the typical APQR. And if there are any other points we can add to that are related to quality and that has a major role in the product, so all these details can be included in the APK. So we can see that all these details in a single glance, at a single point, all the details of the product is being mentioned. So it is very important that APK has to be prepared, and it gives us the overview of the product, and it helps in simply it will give us the defects or there are any loopholes in the product. So I hope this is one of the best and uh, one of the important tool which helps in the quality improvement. So here are the references that we can go through to learn more about: ICH Q7 guidelines, EU guidelines, PICS guidelines, FDA guidelines. So we can go through this and learn more about the things, and we can follow this in our daily activities that we are doing. I hope this APQR has been helpful to you and help you to learn what are the things that we need to follow, and we can learn that it is one of the most important effective tool for the implementation of the quality. So thank you so much for watching and learning. I hope this has been an helpful and a great platform for you to learn things more about. Do comment your thoughts so that it will be helpful to the others as well. Thank you so much.